Josh Elsesser. I'm with FitHive, and I have Gavin Burns on today, who is the marketing director for FitHive. Specifically, he works with FitHive gyms who do marketing with us. So Gavin runs the marketing campaigns for how many different gyms do you think you're working with, Gavin?
Oh, I'd say on average, maybe 6 a week. So it varies and fluctuates, obviously, seasonally. But yeah, I'd say at an average 20 gyms a month, 20, 30 gyms a month.
So tell us a little bit about what you do for these gyms in terms of marketing.
Well, I mean, first things first is what is their goal, right? What are they trying to do? They're trying to get bodies in the door. They're trying to get members. I mean, obviously everyone wants the members. That's the end goal, but it's all about the approach on how we do that. And, you know, can they have a bit of leniency towards like a low barrier offer, or are they trying to get upfront revenue? We try to like figure that out. But for the most part, I like to get on strategy call with figure out what it is they're trying to do, and then we'll just pivot on depending on what it is they want to do. And ultimately is getting them leads, setting up social media campaigns, and giving other strategies with some of the features that we have in the Hive as well that tend to be very effective.
So you do social media campaigns, Facebook, Instagram,
yeah.
Any other social media platforms?
Not really. I mean, there's another guy that works with us, Rob, who does like SEO stuff with Google. But for the most part, I do Facebook and Instagram campaigns, or texting or email campaigns that are within the Hive and using the software. Yeah.
So what are some of the types of campaigns that you are seeing are working really well for the FitHive gyms that you're working with?
Right. I mean, above all, challenges work the best, period. I guess people just get more excited about a challenge, which is kind of why we developed that play. And, challenges have been around forever, but they've been our bread and butter for a long time in terms of marketing. But they generally bring up a lot more revenue up front, get more solid members depending on the length of the program or the challenge. So typically 6-week challenges are the most popular. So that tends to be a good amount of time to get people embedded into their culture. And they tend to be long-term members after that. So I would say challenges tend to perform the best, but there's a lot of coaches that just run free week campaigns. Like they just want to get bodies in the door and participate in some of their classes and kind of sell them from there. So those work well. A lot of the $1 a day campaigns work well. So like 10 days for $10, which is another low barrier offer. But I would say above and all, challenges probably are the most successful campaigns.
And you also mentioned email and text campaigns, and that's something that you help gyms set up as well?
Yeah. And depending on the circumstance, sometimes I'll recommend it over a Facebook ad just because they tend to be more effective. And my philosophy behind that is with social media, especially now in 2022, people have very small attention spans, me included. So with Facebook and Instagram, it tends to be more of a passive user experience. So you'll scroll through the newsfeed aimlessly and then might stumble across something like that and just kind of sign up and put it in the back of your mind without like any real intention of doing anything, which is the hurdle that most gyms will run into. They'll sign up, book the appointment, and then there's no-shows. And we can talk a little bit later on how to mitigate that kind of stuff. But with text campaigns, it's kind of like just plugging directly into the vein. You're sending that person a direct message. It's a direct line of communication. And even just out of sheer curiosity, if they get a text from someone, they're at least going to look at it and see what it is. And the way we have it set up with, some psychological tricks like urgency and stuff like that, they tend to get pretty good response, and they're effectively a lot cheaper than Facebook ads. So we're a text campaign to say, and I usually recommend, anywhere from 300 to 500 leads with each campaign, because you don't want to blast all of your leads at once. But anywhere from 300 to 500 is going to run you like $5 to $6 per campaign, where a Facebook ad might be upwards of $500. So it's shit ton cheaper. So the ROI is there, and they're pretty effective. So you only need 1 or 2 people to sign up, and you get your ROI. But I'm seeing like anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 signups just from one text campaign.
So a lot of the gyms we talk to, almost every one of them thinks or wants to do Facebook ads. And, you know, most of them are trying to DIY it, right? They want to do it themselves. They're trying to minimize costs, but they don't get the return on the investment that they would like to. They're not either getting leads, or the lead quality isn't where they should be. Talk to me a little bit about some of the benefits of working with you in having you manage a campaign for a gym versus trying to do it ourselves.
Right. And it's funny you say that, because I got a question from someone the other day that was like a VA for one of our clients, who's done, you know, all these courses in marketing and stuff, and still couldn't understand why my campaign got so many leads and his didn't. And honestly, I keep a very simple, stupid approach. So you mentioned quality of leads. I've tried different methods with targeting, right? Trying to look for a specific audience. And what I've found is it may qualify the lead a little more. They do tend to get it more expensive, but if no one's taking any action, you can just run your wallet dry. You end up sort of spinning your wheels. If you do, especially with this industry, right, fitness, what I've found is it's a purely circumstantial industry. So anyone can be ready at any time. So we try to cast somewhat of a broad net across the market. But one of the tricks that we use is using specific zip codes, because most coaches in that area know which zip codes are going to have people with like a higher median income, as opposed to ones that don't, you know, where there's all like burnt out cars on the side of the road and mattresses and stuff like that. Like, you don't really want to target those people. So trying to keep it broad, but somewhat specific within age range, local areas and stuff like that. And I've tried all the like detailed targeting, whether it's keywords, lookalike audiences, retargeting and stuff like that. For me, the best retargeting that there is if you have leads that have signed up in the past, is a text campaign. You're directly retargeting them with an offer, you know, straight from a text campaign. So what I found is mostly it's experience, right? I've been doing this with FitHive for 7 years, something now. Finding the right images, the right content, the ad copy. We have great ad copy that's been tested hundreds, if not thousands of times. And I've tried variations. It always outcompetes everything. And just in terms of troubleshooting, which is what most, I would say, owners or DIY people run into, is Facebook's ridiculous policies and guidelines, and trying to work around that, trying to contact with support. And a good thing that I've been able to develop over the years is a great relationship with Facebook. And I can directly contact support. They get back to me effectively immediately, which really, really helps too. So just having that experience of working through ads and you know, getting around guidelines, fixing things where you know, an ad might be restricted or deleted or something like that. Yeah, it's kind of like all the moving pieces connected together. For sure.
So really what it sounds like, it's a coach that knows what they're doing, and they're there to solve a specific problem that we have, right? Just like what we do in the industry, right? We're all coaches, we're all trainers, we're all gym owners. We're trying to help people solve a particular problem, weight loss, getting in shape, gaining muscle, whatever that is. And we have the experience and the expertise to be able to do that and minimize the amount of effort in order for that to happen.
Right. And pushback. Yeah.
Yeah. So if somebody wanted to say, use you for their marketing campaign, walk me through that process. What do they got to do first? How do we initiate that process? What happens once they get the ball rolling? And just kind of give me an overview of that process.
So first of all is, you know, what's your product? What kind of fitness do you do? We were having a conversation earlier. You guys like to do personal training stuff. So some guys just do HIIT cardio, like boot camp style. Some guys do CrossFit. Some guys it's just functional fitness. Some people work with elderly people, right? So it might be something to do with people that are over 50. So really identifying a core audience first, and not trying to go against what's kind of already working for you. Because I'll have gyms, especially boot camp style gyms, that really want to get men in the door, but men just tend to not be interested in boot camps. It's a very female orientated industry, and any boot camp gym can tell you that. So I try to get them in line with what their core demographic is. So we discover that first, throw out some ideas of campaigns that we can effectively run, or try out with them. They may not be new to. They might be new to marketing. They might not have done marketing before. So I try to walk through that and get an idea of what their marketing experience is, and just basically figure out, okay, what's the offer? Because offer is king always. What's the offer? What are we doing? We doing a challenge? We doing a low barrier offer? What's the deal? How are we going to get people's eyes on this ad and get them interested? So that's what we figure out first. Then I'll explain the type of ads that we do and how they typically perform, the functionality of the ads, what the objective is, which in my opinion is probably the most important part about our marketing, is that final objective, which usually tends to be, as you know, in the fitness industry, is either get them on a call or get them in the door. Because we can do all the marketing that we want, right, to generate the interest, to get people engaged, but getting that money off of them, right, that final sale, you have to do sales. So whether it's on a call or getting them in the door, that's our primary objective. So that's where I try to, guide the coach towards, is that, like, that's what we need to do. And I mean, once we've figured that out, it's kind of just explaining the process of what kind of ads I run, which is typically, for the most part, lead form ads, which I find them to be the most effective. I sort of walk through in what the Hive will be, what a Hive's role will be in terms of importing leads, getting them to schedule an appointment within the calendar within the Hive, and also kind of, toot our own horn, so to speak, about FitHive, because I previously worked with the company beforehand, which was Gym Builder, where we would run challenges and campaigns and stuff, but it was like 5 different pieces of software. So explaining that all of that stuff is just in the Hive, like the texting, the email drip campaigns, the scheduling, the funneling, the landing pages, all that stuff is in the Hive. Like, you don't really need to go anywhere else. Even memberships, you're charging memberships within the Hive. So explaining that to them, and then basically just walking through the objectives, what it is. We're going to target this amount of people in this region. We're going to have an overview of what the offer is. They see it, they click on it, they fill out the form, and then we push them into the Hive and get them to schedule. That's kind of sums up the objective of what we do. And then I'll basically, not on the phone, but I'll send them a bunch of videos that will show them how to add me to their admin on Facebook, because I'll build all the ads out for them. How to connect their Hive, so the API is communicating with Facebook, so we can import all those leads. And we also have what's called a Fusion, the FitHive Fusion Academy, which is basically an overview full of tutorials, videos and stuff on how to navigate the Hive for all our campaigns, all our marketing campaigns, which coaches tend to like, because it's all referenced. They can go to each spot when they get stuck and just reference those videos for the campaign. And then what I typically do is I'll send ad copy to them, like the Wednesday or Thursday before launch. And that's another key thing, is that we like to launch ads on Friday, because a lot of the traffic comes over weekends. So I'll get them to, I'll send them the ad copy. And we're very flexible on that, because even though the ad copy has been tested, thousands of times, it still works the best. And we've, had sort of variations of that, and this is kind of the final draft. There might be some stuff in there that coaches either don't offer, or they want to add some extra value in there. So I'm always open and flexible to changing that ad copy. And then once we have that final drafted copy, I launch ads on Friday and sort of just manage them. I'll watch them over the first weekend, because typically you can tell over the first weekend if a campaign's getting any traction or not, if it's getting any leads, what's going on. And then I can make some various edits to the campaign, including targeting, some of the ad copy or images and stuff like that. And obviously anything that's not performing well, we can switch out or turn off, and then do reporting like on a weekly basis, which is usually 2 weeks. We usually do campaigns for 2 weeks, just because in my experience, I've found Facebook, the algorithm tends to deliver a lot less towards that second week. Like, leads start to stagnate a little bit. So But I stay on top of reporting, show them what demographic is essentially working the best, and then the gym can make a decision from there. Okay, let's just utilize the budget for that particular demographic and turn everything else off, because that seems to be what's delivering.
All right. So what is one thing, or what if you could tell a gym the most important thing for you to do when it comes to running a campaign? What is that one thing? What's the most important thing that you see that gyms need to make sure that they do when they run an ad campaign?
Diligent follow-up. Diligent follow-up. It's probably the number one thing most gyms, kind of run into. It's because show-up rate, like I said before, tends to be, no matter what campaign I've done, it's always like you have a certain amount of people book, but only a certain amount show up. And the coaches that are very diligent with their follow-up, and it can be anything from texting the lead, making sure they come in, because we do have a bunch of automations set up within the Hive. But what I've found is, although it does make it relatively easier for the coach, people get a little bit of a sense of something that's automated, right? You probably do too. When you see like a automated text or email, kind of comes off a little body, like it's a bot or something, where coaches there are coaches that will send an actual personal video to the lead, especially if they booked, saying, "Hey, Josh, how you doing? I saw you booked an appointment. We can't wait to meet you. In case you get lost, we're over here behind the 7-Eleven." And like saying their name, something as simple as that keeps it personal. They can see a real face. It establishes trust, which is ultimately what we're trying to do, is build trust and rapport. And so if you sending a video, something like that personally addresses them, one, they realize, okay, this isn't like some conglomerate company or something that's just, auto sending videos or whatever. They're actually talking to me. That's a real person. Awesome. And believe it or not, there's a tiny bit of accountability in that piece, because now it's a real person. It's like, oh shit, I don't want to look like an asshole and flake on this person. I mean, you're still going to get your assholes. You can't avoid that. But just those little things, if it increases show rate by 5%, 10%, like it pays dividends in the long run. So little things like that. And even tricks are, like the oldest salesy trick in the book is, I give you something, you give me something. So it's something we picked up, that I forget who coined it, but it's called ethical bribing. So it could be, "Hey Josh, looking forward to seeing you the interview. Quick question, what size shirt are you? Do you want like a free shirt or a free shaker?" Just offering them a little bit of value incentivizes them to come in that little bit more, and that increases their chances of coming in. Or it could just be, would you prefer for coffee or Gatorade when you come in? You know what I mean?
That's
little things like that. And the coaches that take that effort, because really it takes 30 seconds out of your time to do a video like that and send it to somebody, right? And if you've got 15 people that have booked for the week, I mean, I can't do that. What is that? 7 minutes, 8 minutes of your time for a week. I think most, but a lot of guys kind of get caught up in running the business and stuff like that. And that's cool. I completely understand you're trying to run a business, but why not have one of your employees do it? Get someone else to do it.
Gotcha.
And so that's the most important part in terms of lead follow-up, in terms of getting them in the door. But I would say one of the biggest things that I see that coaches aren't doing enough of is just posting content on their page. Doing all those little things like, I mean, the more daily, the better. It's better for the Facebook algorithm. It brings more people to your page. Facebook likes that kind of stuff. But also you got to think of your page as a catalog. You're showcasing your product. Your product is fitness. And a lot of coaches just post memes and motivational quotes. And if someone strays away from the ad because they click on your page to see what you're about, and all it is memes and quotes and stuff, then they're going to lose interest. They're trying. If Nike did that and I went to the Nike page and all it was motivational quotes, and I couldn't actually see the shoes, that I'm trying to buy, like I'd forget it. Like I'd end up getting exhausted, especially if I had to scroll down. And another thing too is if the last post was from a year ago or 6 months ago, it kind of looks like no one's active. Reviews, like think about when you go on Amazon and you buy something, you look at the reviews. If it's like 2 or 3 reviews, you're very rarely going to buy something, So doing little internal things like that, which is what I recommend in between campaigns. So campaigns build up the pipeline of leads, but in between that, you should be working on the back end internally, building up reviews, getting member referrals, which works really well as well, and building up your content, building up your social media, your branding.
So if somebody wanted to work with you, if somebody wanted to use you to do their marketing, how do they get in hold of you? How do they contact you?
First, you can contact me at Gavin at myfithive.com. That's Gavin at myfithive.com. I have a campaign form that they can ask for directly or a playbook. I mean, typically the best is just reaching out to me via email, right?
Okay.
But I mean, if anyone's in contact with any of you guys, then you guys can just forward them to me and I'll reach out, or just hit me up and I'll reach out to them. I tend to like to show them our playbook first, kind of go through in detail what kind of plays we run, just to start a scaffolding for our conversation. But first and foremost, if it's a new client, I like to get on a call with them.
Gotcha.
Shoot the shit, figure out what they're trying to do, and just develop a strategy.
Perfect. Well, Gavin, I appreciate this call. This has been super informative, and I hope that all you guys out there got something out of this. Again, if you want to get a hold of Gavin, if you want him to use, or if you want to use him for marketing, Gavin at myfithive.com. We'll throw that up there in the comments and on the video. And Gavin, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Anytime.